fourth round of nuclear talks between Iran and the US has taken place in Oman. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson described the meeting as difficult but useful. The latest round marks the highest level contact between the two countries in 7 years. The US withdrew from a nuclear deal with Iran back in 2018 during Donald Trump's first term.
From our perspective, uranium enrichment is something that absolutely must continue, and there's no room for compromise about that. We may consider limitations on its dimensions, scope, level, and amount for a certain period to build confidence, as we did in the agreement, but the principle of enrichment itself is not even negotiable.
Let's speak to Tohid Asadi. He's live in Tehran. Tohid, what more do we know about how the talks today went?
Well, first of all, it seems quite promising when it comes to the statements that we heard from different Iranian officials, including Abbas Araghchi, the Iranian foreign minister, and the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Esmaeil Baghaei. They're still telling that these are some constructive talks happening there, helping both sides obtain a better understanding of the disagreements between the two sides. But on the other hand, we know that, and it goes obviously without saying that if we move to technicalities from general discussions, we see more possibility for disagreements to take place. And for that reason, we know that first and second round of talks were concentrated upon finding a common ground, finding a sort of trust based upon which they can continue the talks. But now with these third and fourth round of talks that just wrapped up, let's say, in Oman, we can see these tensions, these disagreements coming out, and the two sides are trying to actually find a way to untangle their knots one by one. But still, we will have to wait for the next round of talks after this last fourth round to see how they're going to successfully or not successfully, indeed, solve their issues with this diplomatic trajectory. Iranian foreign minister said that compared to the previous round of talks, this recent round of talks were more serious. There was a candid exchange of dialogue, the exchange of thoughts between the two sides. And also, the Iranian side is putting emphasis on its pragmatic approach when it comes to talks. If you go to the Iranian foreign minister, and today, if we just listen to the statements that came from Iranian president, we see the same pragmatism, lifting for sanctions in return for dealing concerns regarding Iran's nuclear program is the key objective for Iran. But how it's going to be translated into action remains to be seen.
OK, many thanks for that. Tohid Asadi there for us in Tehran. Let's get more on this with Mark Pfeifle. He's a national security analyst and a former deputy assistant to President George W. Bush. He's also the president and founder of the off-the-record strategies. He joins me now from Washington, D.C. Many thanks for your time today, Mark. So Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson describing today's meeting as difficult but useful. And we now hear there will be a fifth round of talks. What do you take away from today?
So I think that that's helpful information from Iran. After the last negotiations, it was cautiously optimistic. So we're changing a bit. I think that there's two challenges right now. One is civil nuclear ability for Iran to have a civilian program. There are elements within the United States government and other places that say, why would a petroleum-rich country such as Iran need to have that type of power? But I do think that that's something that has to be discussed, as the U.S. is also a petroleum-rich power and has nuclear capabilities, civilian. So, and I think that, and then really Iran using proxy parts of its regime to destabilize the region. I think that's something that the U.S. is going to look at, too. They don't want to stop the sanctions and then have more money going into places like Hezbollah, the Houthi rebels in Yemen, into Gaza, new possibilities in Syria, that sort of thing. So there are still some difficult things to talk about, as the Iranian foreign minister and president have said, that are going to be big hurdles to overcome.
Just to pick up on your first point, Iran went into today's talks particularly frustrated with the mixed messaging coming from the US on the question of nuclear enrichment. Why do you think this is the case? I mean, why isn't there a clearer message from the US?
I think that's a challenge with the U.S. presidency, and then I think specifically with this administration, is Mr. Trump tends to work kind of freelance, and his chief negotiators, whether it's Mr. Witkoff or Mr. Rubio or whoever it might be, is trying to pick up the signals in real time while they're doing a lot of things. Both of these two senior administration officials, Witkoff and Rubio, are also negotiating things within Gaza and hostage releases and Ukraine, Russia, and India and Pakistan. So try to keep all of those things in exact order for, well, what have we said to this side? What have we said publicly? That's a big challenge that any administration has when it's trying to negotiate a number of high-profile, difficult things. And then if you add kind of the Trump administration freelance, freestyling ways into it, it makes it difficult to put together a strategic vision for the negotiation.
Okay, so you think it's more to do with freestyling. And, I mean, it's just interesting because Israel's been very critical, of course, of these talks. I just wonder if that could have something to do with the fact that we've seen this inconsistent messaging from the US, given the pressure that must be coming from Israel as well as its supporters.
I think Israel has said that they're not particularly supportive of these negotiations. They have already advanced that they have an attack plan if these negotiations go sideways. Mr. Trump has also said, OK, he's looking at it, but I think it would be a difficult way to go. According to the pre-release of the attack plans, it would cause Israeli commandos to have to go deep into Iran to take out these sites, and it would require a significant U.S. Air Force, U.S. Fighter jet situation to do assisting in that type of effort. I don't think that's something that Mr. Trump necessarily wants to do. I think he has no problems, for example, going into a place like Yemen with drones and the occasional fighter jet and taking out locations in Yemen. But it's a different story to go into Iran and have that type of a significant military activity.
Okay, really good to get your perspective. Mark Pfeifle, national security analyst, former deputy assistant to the president, George W. Bush.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.